will herrlich in den Hals beißen. Der versucht, ihn anzuknabbern. Kahn mit gestrecktem Bein voran. Wenn Chapuisat da reingeht, kann die Rippen einzeln zählen.
These are 7 players and figures who found themselves on the wrong side of Oliver Kahn. 3-time IFFHS World's Best Goalkeeper, 2002 World Cup Golden Ball winner, and one of football's most combustible personalities. The Bayern Munich legend and German national team icon's 30 years of feuds stretched from the Bundesliga pitch all the way to the Bayern Munich boardroom, and Kahn's intensity created conflicts that defined German football in an era before Manuel Neuer's emergence. German football has never seen a personal conflict quite like Kahn versus Lehmann, the Arsenal Invincibles goalkeeper. Starting in 1998, these two goalkeepers battled for the national team's #1 position, and what began as professional rivalry turned into something far uglier. Early 2004 brought the moment when Lehmann crossed the line most players wouldn't dare approach. Speaking to Kicker magazine, he went straight after Kahn's personal life with a calculated attack. "I wouldn't know what we Maishe heart should talk about. I don't have a 24-year-old girlfriend, I have a different life." Everyone knew what he meant, a direct reference to Kahn's relationship with TV presenter Verena Kurth. Kahn fired back with venom. "I never needed to stoop to such a low level in my career. It's almost unbelievable. He cannot cope with being the number 2. He cannot handle it. That's why he's probably leaving the bounds of good taste." National team coach Rudi Völler had seen enough and stepped in to organise peace talks before Euro 2004, publicly scolding Lehmann with words that left no room for interpretation. He knows that he's made a mistake. He went too far. It won't happen again. I won't accept it. The ceasefire lasted about as long as you'd expect, which is to say it didn't. April 7th, 2006 delivered the blow that defined their rivalry. Jürgen Klinsmann announced Jens Lehmann as Germany's first-choice goalkeeper for the World Cup, and for Kahn, who'd already lost the captaincy back in 2004, this felt like the final humiliation. Bayern Munich took the unusual step of formally protesting the decision, but 30 June 2006 in Berlin changed everything, at least temporarily. Before the penalty shootout against Argentina, Kahn did something nobody saw coming. He walked all the way across the pitch to embrace Lehmann, rubbing his shoulder and offering encouragement to the man who'd replaced him. Germany goalkeeper coach Andreas Köpke would later call it the scene of the World Cup. Lehmann himself admitted the gesture meant something. It was a very nice gesture, without a doubt. During a World Cup, the competitive situation is forgotten. He went on to save the decisive penalty from Cambiaso, putting Germany through 4-2 and into the semi-finals. 8 days later, on July 8th, Lehmann returned the favour by offering Kahn the starting spot in the third-place playoff, which became Kahn's final match in a Germany shirt. The two even shared the Sport Bambi Award that year, celebrated as examples of how rivals could unite for a common cause. That unity lasted about as long as a German summer. October 2007 saw Kahn declare there would never again be a goalkeeper era like his in Germany, and Lehmann couldn't resist hitting back in Der Spiegel. "I don't like it when someone glorifies himself. He takes himself too seriously." 3 years later, in 2010, when someone asked whether Lehmann deserved a spot in Germany's World Cup squad, Kahn delivered this response: "I had to make way for him in goal at the 2006 World Cup, and so I'm biased. I would say no." Fast forward to 2024, and when asked about the craziest goalkeeper, Kahn took aim at Lehmann's legal troubles involving a chainsaw incident with a neighbour and offered this gem. "That's, like, obvious. The one with the chainsaw." April 3rd, 1999 at the Westfalenstadion gave us one of the most notorious incidents in Bundesliga history. Bayern Munich came in leading the table by 14 points, comfortable and confident, but Borussia Dortmund had other plans. 21 minutes in, Bayern trailed 0-2, and both goals came off the boot of Heiko Herrlich. After Herrlich threw a shoulder charge his way, Kahn responded with something you'd expect to see in a vampire movie rather than a football match. He pressed his face against Herrlich's neck in what witnesses described as Dracula-like behaviour, and television cameras caught what looked like biting motions clear as day. Herrlich downplayed it later with some humour. "Kahn didn't bite me, just nibbled. At least I didn't have a hole in my neck." But Kahn himself wasn't laughing when he reflected on it years later in a 2010 interview with Süddeutsche Zeitung, calling it the zenith of my aggression and admitting that was some kind of internal force, signalling, "I can't go on like this." He added something rare for a man who rarely showed regret. "I've rarely been ashamed, perhaps that time in Dortmund." The referee saw all of this and issued exactly 0 cards, not even a yellow. Minutes after the nibbling incident, with the ball safely in his hands and the play already flagged offside, Kahn launched a kung fu style kick at Stéphane Chapuisat that would have made Eric Cantona proud. Chapuisat narrowly avoided contact, and once again the referee somehow found nothing worth punishing. Bayern manager Uli Hoeneß offered the mildest possible criticism. Oliver has to be careful not to overdo it. September 27, 2002 brought another moment of Kahn losing control, this time during Bayern's 2-1 defeat at Bayer Leverkusen. After a disallowed goal, Kahn charged straight at striker Thomas Böderich and grabbed him by the neck with both hands, shaking him like a rag doll. That last line stung because it was true. Kahn had become exactly what he once despised, a former player throwing stones from the comfort of a television studio. Germany crashed out of the 2018 World Cup in the group stage, an embarrassment that demanded answers. July 2018 brought those answers in the form of a ZDF studio confrontation between Kahn and national team director Oliver Bierhoff that viewers watched unfold live on television. Kahn tore into the team's performance, describing helplessness and apathy and questioning how players were even selected. They were no longer 100% comprehensible to me. Bierhoff wasn't about to sit there and take it, firing back with a direct challenge. Name a few who absolutely should have come along. The exchange showed Kahn's willingness to create conflict anywhere, anytime, even on national television with a fellow German football executive sitting 3 feet away. May 2022 brought a public declaration from Robert Lewandowski that no Bayern Munich CAO wants to hear. My era at Bayern is over. I don't see any possibility to continue playing for this club anymore. By this point, Kahn had transitioned from player to executive, and his response showed he'd brought the same uncompromising attitude to the boardroom. Kahn's words dripped with barely concealed irritation. I can't tell you why Robert chose this path. Public statements like that don't get you anywhere. Robert became the world's best footballer here twice in a row. I think he should know what he has at Bayern. Appreciation is not a one-way street. His initial stance was firm and absolute. Robert Lewandowski has a contract until 2023 and he will fulfill it. July 2022 saw Bayern sell Lewandowski to Barcelona for somewhere between 45 and 50 million euros, but the relationship had already been destroyed by Kahn's refusal to bend. 7 conflicts spanning 30 years reveal the same core truth about Oliver Kahn, the UEFA Best European goalkeeper for 4 consecutive years. His feuds all share these elements, refusing to accept anything less than first place, explosive reactions when pressure mounted, and a leadership style that made teammates fear him more than respect him. Mehmet Scholl, who played alongside Kahn at both Karlsruhe SC and Bayern Munich, delivered what might be the most telling quote about what it was like sharing a locker room with the man. I'm afraid of only 2 things in life, war and Oliver Kahn. Defenders Sami Kufer and Andreas Herzog endured what sources describe as Kahn's hairdryer treatment, which meant intense verbal and physical confrontations during matches whenever they made mistakes. Even Stefan Effenberg, described as Kahn's only peer rival at Bayern and a man not known for backing down, would shut Kahn up when reporters came around by simply telling him, "You shut up." This intensity made Kahn brilliant between the posts, following in the footsteps of Bayern Munich's legendary Sepp Maier while paving the way for Manuel Neuer's eventual arrival. But that same fire burned him in the end. May 27th, 2023 brought his dismissal as Bayern Munich CEO, and the club wouldn't even let him attend the title-clinching match that day. Their official story claimed he had a cold, which Kahn immediately contradicted on Twitter. I wasn't allowed by the club. His own words captured the devastation. The worst day in my life. Taken away being able to celebrate with the guys. Uli Hoeneß, the man who'd once made excuses for Kahn's on-field violence, delivered the final verdict on his executive career. The big disappointment is that I thought he could do the job on his own because of his personality, but instead, he surrounded himself with his advisors. Aggression between the posts made Kahn a legend, but aggression in the boardroom destroyed him. The man Mehmet Scholl compared to war itself couldn't find peace with Bayern's power structures, and the price for that was losing everything he'd worked toward in his second career. These 7 people all experienced different versions of the same Oliver Kahn. Brilliant, relentless, uncompromising, and completely unable to turn down the competitive fire that made him great. Some of them reconciled with him eventually, others never will, but every single one learned the same lesson. When Oliver Kahn decides you're the enemy, There's no middle ground and nowhere to hide.